All right, let's go over our homework from the other night because we made a couple of mistakes. So the first example was mgcl2. So I do need my second chlorine here. So I know that magnesium has 2 valence electrons, so I'm going to draw those 2 in. I know that chlorine has 7 valence electrons each, so I draw all 7 in for each chlorine. So I have a total of 16 valence electrons. This is an ionic compound, so I know that those electrons are transferred. So when I transfer electrons, I'm going to give one of the magnesium ones to the one chlorine. I'm going to give the other magnesium one to the other chlorine. So as I draw this, I have to show those electrons being given. I then need to show what actually happens. So I need to show that magnesium has lost 2 electrons. When it loses 2 electrons, that gives it a positive 2 charge. And I know that chlorine now has all 8 valence electrons, so I draw in all 8 valence electrons. And because each chlorine gained 1 electron, it has a negative 1 charge. There are 2 chlorines, so I tell you that by putting a 2 in front of it. So this is how it should have looked for the first example. Our next problem was strontium oxide. So strontium has 2 valence electrons. Oxygen has 6 valence electrons. In this example, there was only 1 of each, so that gives me a total of 8 valence electrons because I've got 6 from oxygen plus the 2 from strontium for a total of 8. So I know that strontium's going to give their electrons, because it is an ionic compound, metal, non-metal, and oxygen is conveniently going to take both of them. So that gives us strontium with a +2 charge because it gave away 2 electrons, and it gives us oxygen now with all 8 valence electrons and a charge of -2. I need to make sure I account for the electrons that are taken and the electrons that are received. So next example, I had lithium and I had fluorine. So I know lithium has 1 valence electron. Fluorine has 7. Once again, it's an ionic compound. I know there are a total of 8 valence electrons, 1 from lithium plus the 7 of fluorine. So lithium is going to give fluorine its 1 electron. So lithium now has a +1 charge, and fluorine has a -1 charge because it now has all 8 valence electrons. It received that 1 from lithium. Our final example was sodium sulfide. And let me cross the R out. So sodium has 1 valence electron, while sulfur has 6 valence electrons. There were 2 sodiums and 1 sulfur, so that is 8 valence electrons total, 2 plus 6. Sodium's going to give one of its valence electrons here. Sodium's going to give its other valence electron here. So sodium, there are 2 of them, and they each have a +1 charge because each sodium gave 1 electron away, while sulfur accepted 2 electrons, so it is a -2 charge. If you have any questions with this, I can easily do a Zoom meeting with you, and we can walk through these examples so that they're easier to understand. Please reach out with any questions.